Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Plus 3 podcast. I am your host, Ducky Please, joined with my wonderful co-host here, the Arcade Buddha himself, Justin,
What's good?
and the legend himself, Amras, aka Logan.
What's going on?
And today we have a very special episode for you. We are less so talking about characters or mechanics in a game themselves, and we're talking more so about what goes into a game, specifically features in fighting games that are missing or seem to be inconsistent amongst a lot of fighting games. And to elaborate on that, let's take, for example, something like online training mode, which is one that I hold really close to my heart. Online training mode is an invaluable resource when learning a new fighting game, especially when you're learning with friends on an online environment like we currently are in because of certain things that are in place, lockdowns and everything, which granted things may seem to be opening up, but sometimes your friends or your training partners can live a little bit further away, or training in person just isn't as accessible as it should be sometimes, or maybe you just would prefer to have that other person there to help you actually coach you in that session in real time, which it goes along to the learning experience. People just learn differently. Online training mode is a feature that is missing from a lot of fighting games. The only ones that I can personally name that have it is BlazBlue Central Fiction on the PS4 and the PC. I don't know if you guys know of any games that have like an online training mode.
Street Fighter 4.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't actually know that they had that. That's actually really cool.
Which bothers me more because it's not in Street Fighter 5.
There's a few things in 5, right? Where, remember tournament mode?
Yeah.
Oh, so Street Fighter 4 had its
nobody
own
used.
tournament mode?
Yeah.
Well, it was supposed to.
It didn't even have. They didn't even use it for tournaments, but yeah.
Oh.
It was like this beta thing, and the craziest thing about it, if you look at the newest soundtrack release for that game, the song that Masahiro Aoki did for it is in there, but you never hear it in game
Oh.
because it's not in the game.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
weird. Yeah, so, you would think, especially considering that fighting games are a competitive thing, even a tournament mode would be semi-standard, or just, some sort of, continuous, match or, round type deal outside of, training, outside of, versus mode, where you could keep track of stuff like that. Which I don't know why things like that aren't implemented into fighting games, more regularly. What's another one that you guys really enjoy that just doesn't seem to be in most modern fighting games?
Hey, frame data.
Frame data, yes.
It's not in a lot of games at all. It's kind of in Street Fighter 5. If you
Street Fighter 5 stream data is fantastic.
It's there. Yeah. I kind of wish that some of the numbers didn't appear and disappear so quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, they fixed that.
Did they?
Oh, did they?
Yeah. So if you do a move or something, the last number that records it sticks now. So yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I actually did not know that. Okay, well that's good. But yeah, even a lot of the fighting games that like my favorite Power Rangers doesn't have frame data. It's just got
Did
the training.
Guilty Gear have it?
Guilty Gear?
Xrd, for instance.
XR does not have frame data. You have to do old school tests where they're you make them jump immediately after blocking, or just throwing out their fastest attack or whatever. So
Yeah.
you have to do really old methods. BlazBlue Central Fiction does not have frame data either. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus has a form of it, but it's so simplified, which I guess is why it's not included in a lot of your more modern fighting games, because they're so worried about not overwhelming new players with the information, because more advanced players are going to figure out that information regardless, right? We're gonna know at some point. But it would be nicer, and it would make our job easier to just have that information readily available instead of having to dig for it or wait months for it, or just having to catalog it ourselves, because at some point people stop categorizing the frame data or logging it together, and then you have these empty Mizumis and wikis and dust loops and things like that where stuff is just missing or incorrect, which I will say the community has been on several wikis have been striving to really fill in those gaps and those holes, but it's it's a lot to ask just average people that don't really have all the time. When I mean I don't know, I've never developed a game, but I feel like game devs just kind of have the information right there, which rightfully they should, right? Like they're making it, so you think.
Well, I mean, the craziest thing is that the data is there. All they're doing is displaying it in numerical form.
Yeah.
Like it's a game. Like I know it's hard for us to like forget, or it's easy for us to forget that it's software, right? But
True.
that data and everything is there. They just have to make an algorithm or a little software within the software to make it applicable for us to see it that way.
Yeah.
The craziest thing about all this is that people saying, well, fighting games are like, they're just not getting a hold of everything and whatever, for people who defend this kind of bullshit. But a Virtua Fighter 4, have you guys ever played that?
I have not.
Yeah, what's the one that I played on emulator recently? Was that 4? I think it was 4.
That was 5. You played 5.
5, okay. I have not played
Now
4.
5 is also really good about it, but I'm mentioning 4 because that was released in like the very early PlayStation 2 era, I believe. It was like right after Dreamcast. So that game has one of the most in-depth, not only like tutorials and frame data and everything. It goes into like punishment guides, like in Tekken and stuff like that. Like it teaches you all these different situations and everything. And I'm not entirely, what's in there, but for that day and age, like back in 2002, 1,
Yeah, real early.
it had all that shit.
Hmm.
Like, why are we backtracking?
I actually didn't know any of that. And see, having that information it helps streamline so much. You can more accurately develop a plan or learn a character when you have their frame data available. So if you know what's plus on block, or if you know what's minus on block, or if you know what's 0 or even on block, or if you have any sort of slight advantage, it helps out a ton. But I don't get why like hoarding it behind some sort of magical wall, and I mean I'm tangenting here a little bit, but Tekken 7, they didn't let us know any of the information for the longest time, and then there was the whole kerfuffle about the frame data or the training tool for frame data, finally being released, but it costing $1
As paid DLC.
DLC, yeah, which
when not even maybe a year before, Street Fighter just added it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then what happened in response to that? The community, of course, the community gave them flack for it, but then even their competitors, or even if I could even call it a competitor, started kind of poking fun at it. And what I mean in particular is Dead or Alive 6, which is a shell of a fighting game, if I'm being completely honest. That game is missing just so many features at base, even regardless if it is free or not. You're missing the game even in the free-to-play aspect of it. You know what I mean?
Hold on. I'm gonna ask the Dead or Alive fan base what they think about that. Hey, what do you guys think about that? No one.
Silence. Silence. God, I still can't believe the Dead or Alive tried to come for somebody like that, knowing damn well they have nobody playing their game.
I mean,
man.
games with bad netcode die quickly, and that game didn't even make it to the online. It was dead before it came out.
It was literally dead on arrival. I cannot believe. But speaking of which, netcode has been a hot topic in the FGC for a long time now. It's been such a hot topic that netcode has worked its way into games that don't even require netcode, and people are complaining about it. So it's really nice to see that the revolution is starting.
Yeah, I have opinions about that, but I'll segue into that. Let's go.
Okay, I can't wait for you to start a fire this time. But we do understand that, especially in our online day and age, and especially with what happened in the last year, that playable online is something that it's really important to the fighting game community, especially as we move to a more digital age. People either can't or don't want to go out as much, and the online experience can be absolutely abysmal when fighting players that are laggy, or if the connection is just rough, or if said netcode is terrible. As we have learned recently, We love Arcana Heart. The netcode for it is absolutely garbage, and Logan and I, living in the same house, do not have the freedom to just play from our own rooms. It is that bad.
Yeah.
Which is mind-boggling to me.
The craziest thing is that they updated that game.
They did.
New characters, was it? New characters, new
Two
Arcana?
new characters, a new Arcana. There is another new Arcana coming down the road, and I think there's going to be another character or a boss character coming soon.
And higher resolution as well. It's no longer boxed in with borders.
Yeah.
Yet they didn't even in this day and age. I think this is the thing they teased, right? Because Arc Systems was saying like, "Hey, we're thinking about going back to one of our old IPs and like bringing it back in some way."
Yes, and that's why the hashtag BBCF rollback has been trending so much, and BB tag rollback and all these other games. The one I see the most is BBCF rollback, which, my God, if BBCF got rollback, I'd cry. But yeah, that's what they have said. They've said that in the past.
And it's so sad, right?
I think I'm not entirely sure. I think there's something projected for maybe next year, but they're looking at it. In addition to that, Under Night In-Birth and their team is looking to adding rollback to their games, but they did just get into arcades. Yeah, Melty Blood type Lumina is coming out, and they're going to have rollback for it. KOF is having rollback, their own version of rollback. Of course, we have to talk about Guilty Gear Accent Core Plus R. They had the rollback added. It's been some of the best rollback that they've had since then. Just everything is getting rollback. Everything either is planned to have rollback or some version of it. Tekken 7 is 3, but it's there.
So, like, it makes you wonder why, like, if you're still willing to update these older games, why should one of your updates not be rollback?
Exactly.
Like, why would you try to bring back Arcana if nobody can play it online?
Yeah, which, again, when I was telling you guys about Arcana Heart, the extend version of it coming out, that was teased like 2 or 3 years ago. I completely forgot about it. You would think that somewhere along the way, with Accent Core getting a rollback and how much we've been clamoring for it, they would, I don't know, you would think that they would try to implement it in their extend update. But in addition to that, like, I don't know if the studio that is actually behind Arcana Heart, because Arc System is just the publishers, but you would think that the studio behind Arcana Heart would also receive that message and be apt to actually, saying, hey, you know what, we hear you, we're working on rollback, or we have a rollback update planned. I mean, fingers crossed, because Arcana Heart deserves more attention, but it's just simply not going to get it if the online is unplayable.
Look, every game deserves rollback. It's so crazy. We have to fight for. Not only are we fighting in game, we're fighting outside the game to get features that are standard in every known game currently.
Yeah, absolutely. And it feels bad as a fighting game fan, because this is simultaneously one of the best times and the worst times to enjoy fighting games, because we have such a great future ahead of us with all these features that we're supposed to already have. But the fact that we don't have them now is also soul-crushing.
Yeah. And, like, you take a game like Smash Brothers. Like, Nintendo's never been good about online anyway. But, like, this is the best-selling fighting game there is. And while, yeah, you can find matches online, like, because, of how big the game is. Like, if you try to, like, jump into an arena, there is nowhere near as many arenas as there should be for a game as big as Smash Brothers. Nowhere close. And it's because it's unplayable online. Mm-hmm. It's so disgustingly unplayable online.
It absolutely is. Like, again, this is another one of those games where you and I are in the same house, on the same internet connection, wired, cannot for the life of us play. And it baffles me.
Situations like that occurring often enough can be a reason why somebody quits a game.
Yeah, absolutely.
It could be a reason why a game's dead.
It's frustrating, like, for people that may not be, just starting fighting games or whatever, and like people don't know how to, like, they're angry online, but you don't know why. It's because you work your ass off on these combos, setups, mix-ups, like everything, your Okazeme. Till this day in Street Fighter, I've been playing that game for 1,800 hours. Why can't I get my meaties right online?
Yeah,
Because it's impossible.
yeah, that's very valid and fair. I've had the same thing with games like Under Night In-Birth, where I'll be playing either Hilda or any character that has some sort of like setup or vortex. I'll fuck it up somehow, and either I'll be a frame too early or a frame too late, and either miss a teleport or I'll miss a condensed gloom. It's infuriating, and it is honestly demoralizing to play in those situations. Even things like BB Tag, where you have such a high damage and explosive game, where you die in a combo or one mix-up, fucking that up or getting that messed up for you because of the online environment changes the entire way that you play a game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because then you can't resort to, I don't want to say you can't resort to like your smarter stuff or your more tricky stuff. You just have to be like, well, this person can't react to overheads online, so boop, like.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you will be that person.
I mean, something for me to get to Diamond in Street Fighter, which isn't that big of a deal, but like, even to get to that point, I had to come to this realization that there's playing offline, there's playing offline, and playing with friends that also think they're playing in an offline kind of setting. It'll work.
Yeah.
Like there's this mutual respect and understanding that like, okay, we're playing fundamentals. Okay, this hits whatever. And I think between all of us, we play that pretty well. However, something that blew my mind, I was watching, because I made Zeku, was that I was playing against this Zeku in a mirror match. He runs up to me as old Zeku, dashes up in neutral, and then does standing medium kick, which is a 7-frame button, and it counter hits me. And that blew my mind. And it made me angry, but I was like, damn, I saw that and I reacted to it. But the netcode is just so that it worked.
Yeah.
And then I tried it myself in a match and it fucking worked. And I was like, you know what? There's playing offline and then there's playing online.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's why like dash something online is so good in Street Fighter 5
Yeah.
because like you
Or
can't
even
react to
jumping.
dash. Yeah, like you're not reacting in time, not really, not in most connections. I can't remember which tournament it was, but it was like winners quarters or something like that. And there was someone who I can't remember what it was. But there's a Karen and like you're expecting all this high level play. Now he's just doing like sweep over and over again because the match is so unplayable. It's a tournament setting. Like I don't know about y'all, but like if I had a fighting game tournament being broadcast, I don't want my game being broadcasted showing how terrible my netcode is.
It's weird because, you know, people give Street Fighter a lot of shit, but they were the first mainline fighting game to actually offer a type of rollback.
Even though it was abysmal, and still is.
It can be, it really can be, and I think it's gotten a lot better. However, it's still not great, and compared to actual good rollback, it pales in comparison. Which is why I'm so excited to see a game like Strive, as beautiful as it is, play like good rollback. I'm excited for that.
Oh,
Yeah. Listen, like, I mean, we've had games that have had like good netcode before 5, like Killer Instinct. Killer Instinct had really good netcode, and I don't understand why it took the events of last year for it to catch on when like it happened with KI and it was so well received. And then no one else jumped on the train to say, hey, like, maybe we could do that. But, like, and, like, I get it. Like, a lot of them are very in-house about the way that they develop their games and stuff. But, like, come on. Like, I don't know. It just frustrates me.
The thing about that, though, the consistency with that is, what's the difference between games like Tekken, Street Fighter, Smash Bros. Against games like Skullgirls, Mortal Kombat 11, at least for PC, and what was the game you just mentioned? Killer Instinct.
Killer Instinct.
What's the difference between those games? I'll tell you what it is, Ducky. They're American games.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is very true.
It's not just a simple matter of, hey, why don't we add this? You have to convince these old heads.
Fair
And I love Japanese developers. When it comes to the actual game, I think they're still the best at what they do. However, when it comes to features and just standard things, right? What bums me out, not to shit on like smaller games or indie games. You know me, I'm a big brand loyalist. For me to really enjoy a game and put like 1,000 hours into it over the span of a couple of years, I'm gonna have to like, be invested in this cool thing that kind of everyone's into.
Yeah.
It's just a big thing. So like, them's fighting herds and Skullgirls being probably the most prolific, the biggest out of the indie scene and everything. Like, they're doing it, but again, they're all still American-made games. And the same with Power Rangers. They can't even sell that shit in the Eastern Hemisphere.
Yeah. And God, that game's netcode is so good.
It actually is.
Fucking incredible.
I can't, like, as many matches as I've played online, like, it seems like the instant there's an inability for the match to have even any kind of unplayability, it just disconnects.
Yeah.
Like, and like, that's only happened to me a very small handful of times. Like, you load in the match, ready, go, opponent's disconnected. And it ends there. And like, I don't know if that's just somebody rage quitting or like, them just going, oh, whatever, and leaving or what, but like, I've never like played in lag on Power Rangers. The netcode is so good. I love it as much as I do.
When we played it, I could probably count on one hand how many times there was the smallest hiccup and then it's fixed.
Yeah, almost immediately.
Yeah,
which is wild.
Which it should be wild. It should be standard.
Exactly. Like I'm really hoping that this netcode surge is really just gonna take off and like all fighting games are gonna start coming standard with it because they should have since it existed.
Honestly, yeah. But now, kind of segueing into the next portion of that, we know that netcode like that should be 100% absolutely standard. What are some other things that we feel like should be absolutely standard? Which I think a big one in fighting games, at least for the longevity of them, is going to be crossplay. Because now there have been some developments and some things, people have been like learning things about, crossplay and how it works a little bit. And even in the devs' backyard for Guilty Gear Strive, they're like, we are working to implement crossplay. It is just going to be difficult. Now, when they say that, I don't know how true it is. I'm not a game developer. I have seen some things on the internet that cannot be confirmed nor denied, that there might be certain companies that are hindering the progress towards crossplay for fighting games. Because let's face it, fighting games don't make that much money.
They don't.
But I still feel like they should at least attempt or try and bring something together, even if it's not with like Xbox and PS4 or PS4 and PC. There should be some attempt or some way that we can do this, because I cannot tell you how painful it is to be a PC player for a fighting game, and it be one of your favorite fighting games, and it is impossible to find a match because no one plays on PC. Everyone is on PS4.
Crossplay is something that the said company is like afraid of revenue loss. I don't know why we're not
allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, I can't. I can't afford.
But like, it's only good. Well, that's the thing. It's not the game. The developers with the game, they're not worried about crossplay. It's only good for them.
Yeah.
But my philosophy is like, okay, I have a PC, and I don't have a PS4. Here's just my philosophy, even though I could buy like even a PS5 right now. If Street Fighter 6 comes out on PS5 and PC, I'm getting it on PC. I'm not gonna go out and buy a PlayStation 5 for a fighting game. I don't give a fuck. I'm not gonna buy a new console for a game. Period.
Yeah, I completely get what you're saying. I mean, I wouldn't buy a PS5 just for Guilty Gear if it was just gonna be on PS5 and PC. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna be getting Strive on both my PS4 and my PC because I'm an insane person. I plan on going to tournaments. I plan on participating once this whole thing dies down. So it's convenient for me to just go ahead and have the library ready on the PS4 for when I do go. You know, because you got to support your community. You got to help out. You know, bring your own setup and help things run a little smoother. You know, that's how you, that's how you make friends. You bring your own setup.
I mean,
So, but you know, I mean, I plan on getting Strive for my PS4 and I plan on getting it for my PC. And if it somehow has crossplay, then great. But on the off chance that one of the versions dies, then you know I still have people or ways to play the game with people outside of my friend group. It's just, and then there was the case of things like some years ago, Under Night In Birth. We didn't know if the ST version was coming to PC for a very long time. We just had the EXE version, which was like their second version of the game. We didn't have ST for a while. After I bought Unis, I waited like 6 months, and then the ST version got announced, and I was like, okay, cool. This is the most up-to-date version of the game. I'm happy. And then what was it? 2 years ago, Uniclear got announced, and they said nothing about a PC port. And I was like, shit, I'm not going to be able to play the new version of Uniclear. I've got to do something. And that's when I bought my PS4. Like, I went on to Facebook. I found some guy who was selling a PS4 for cheap. I bought it from him. I bought Uniclear. I bought an Ethernet cable, and I played. And that was it.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny about all that is that there have been games I've been very excited for. Multiple games, not even fighting games, where Sam Show, for instance, it comes out on PS4. I'm like, cool, it's gonna get some type of PC release. Okay, what are we looking at? Stadia.
Oof.
And I was like, oh shit.
Worse.
And then on top of that, it comes out on Epic Game Store.
And just something about Epic Game Store to just not hit right.
Well, I'm glad it's there for competitive reasons. You need to have competition with anything. So, one company or whatever doesn't get too bloated and just inflates their prices. It's very important. But, if Sam Show, the new one, if that was on Steam, it would have at least had a decent little player base for a little while. And if that had rollback, it'd be probably a pretty large game. And then if it had crossplay, we're talking about it'd be more popular. But they just fucked up on every turn, and a lot of that could be solved with me getting a console. And Jesus.
but you shouldn't feel obligated.
I shouldn't. Even now with all the developments that we've been getting, it's very much in a bubble where, oh wow, this is great. Oh, this is awesome for fighting games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I saw a Google article. It said Monster Hunter Rise has sold 6 million units. Cool. And then the subtext, surpassing Street Fighter V. I'm like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
That's not fucking fair. Every normie and their grandmother is playing fucking Rise and streaming it. It's the most accessible Monster Hunter to date. It's also, in my opinion, the most fun. It's fucking incredible. So yeah, everyone's gonna fucking play it. It's great. It's a good co-op experience. It's a good single-player experience. It's catered. Even with its issues at launch, there was enough there that, we had a good I had a good 40-hour run going into it. Yeah. Now with the update, I'm gonna put another 40 hours into it.
Yeah. And fighting games are just a completely different niche outside of, Monster Hunter. So it really isn't fair to be compared to it like that.
It never will be this biggest selling thing. The Street Fighter 2 era, that shit's over. Okay. I love arcades. I am, the arcade Buddha. I'm a big nostalgia for all that shit. However, that shit's done. Which, damn, maybe this is too big of a topic, but should fighting games be free to play?
Well, that's a great question, because that brings us to, the next big thing on the horizon, which we got a tweet said don't expect anything this year from it, but Project L by Riot Games, the League of Legends fighting game, I wholeheartedly feel is going to have a free-to-play approach. You're probably going to have 4, maybe 5 characters that you can choose from at the beginning, if they even have more at launch, and you just have to play or grind it out until you get that money to actually get play the other characters. But I don't know if going free to play is going to help the community as much. I'm unsure, because
Now, what do you mean by that?
Dead or Alive 6 is technically free to play. You can download the core fighters pack of it and just play the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the restrictions on that are so abysmal that it almost doesn't make the game worth playing.
Expand on that.
So you're missing a lot of your core features. You're missing things like training mode. You're missing things like the combo trials or the explanation mode for the moves, or how to do certain combos and things. Of course, you don't have any other DLC characters, but that's fine. You're basically only limited to, I think, just versus mode, right, Logan?
You can do training mode, but you can't do story. You can't do their little mission mode. Or you can do like some of the missions. It's like a small handful, but most are locked. But the big thing is there's 4 playable characters. 4.
Really? Even with the core fighters?
Yeah, when you download core fighters, you get like Kasumi, I think Nico. I can't remember which ones it is. But yeah, you get like 4 or 5 characters. And then every other character is like individually purchasable. And in that regard, if you wanted to actually play the game seriously, like let's say the game wasn't dead, it would benefit you to just buy the full game and have all the characters.
Yeah,
because it would cost less money.
Yeah, and then you get all the other stuff with it, and then it's finally like.
But that acts more as like a trial.
It does.
Kinda, yeah.
But what is free to play if not a trial?
I think it's possible for fighting games to take a free to play approach. However, there has to be something heavily microtransactionable to make up the difference. Because they're gonna have to make their money, and because if they do take a free to play approach, that means they're probably not willing to put as much time into it, which could probably mean the cut of a lot of features that we would really like to have.
This has been discussed before a while back, I believe. I forgot who actually mentioned it. What would you guys feel? Let's say, I'm trying to think. Let's say Street Fighter V, to keep it simple. You have your 16 characters at launch. Pretty much vanilla Street Fighter V with all of its content the way it is. Let's say that was free to play. Not talking about the gameplay, just the content.
Yeah.
And it's free to play. Making a season pass wouldn't make up that difference, because it's on top of like, I mean, I've only spent like probably spent about maybe $300 on Street Fighter V over the span of 5 years.
Yeah.
That's just somebody just trying to keep up. That's not gonna do a lot, right?
It isn't.
No.
But you could do something like a battle pass, where you buy the pass for the whatever season, right? And it encourages you to play the game, because instead of like buying a character, but let's say you can buy a character like just straight up, but the season pass is a little bit more, and if you play the game and get through the rankings and just play the game, that's all you gotta do. You get all these extra costumes, you get all these extra like colors, and then at the very end there are a couple of characters that you can unlock by simply buying the battle pass and playing the game. And you get 2 characters at the end of it and a bunch of other shit along the way, and you're playing the game.
Isn't that kind of like what their battle point like money thing is though? Well, I guess you can't buy. Can you buy characters with that still?
Yeah, but we both know.
I mean, it's a lot, yeah. But like,
it's a fucking
theoretically, you can.
Yeah,
and there's also no. I think the problem with that is that like, it becomes more of a currency. I mean, it is a currency, right?
Yeah.
and like, well, I gotta hold on to my money because like damn. Also, you don't have to pay for that, right?
True.
Right.
But that also kind of.
But you could.
I
Go
was,
ahead.
I was gonna say it also kind of causes some like fundamental conflicts with fighting games, even going to a free-to-play thing where all the characters are locked behind any sort of paywall. Because then there's gonna come to a point where you're fighting a character that you don't own, and
Yeah.
how am I supposed to practice against something that I don't have access to?
Unless you're.
Oh well, like I said, you
$11
could just
for it.
buy the character.
You could just buy the
However,
character.
if you pay
but-
a little bit more for the season pass, you get a bunch of other shit along
but
the way.
Why am I buying a character to learn to beat? Why am I spending money to learn how to win? Outside of, just finding a person that just plays this character over and over again, which is arguably even more work.
You're thinking about it from a fighting game veteran standpoint. I'm talking about Daisy Dukes down the street who's never played a fighting game in her entire life, but wants to try.
Well,
They don't know nothing. They don't even know what a frame is.
Fair.
They're satisfied just getting a Hadouken out, And imagine them. It's not even really for us, really. It's for the expanded, trying to get other people in, because that's the whole point of free to play is to get people in.
Yeah.
So from that standpoint, Daisy Dukes fucking comes there, learns to do it Hadouken. All you got to do is just play the game. You don't even have to win. Just play the game. And even though you're losing, which is the worst thing about fighting games, is that you are not compensated at all. And that's very old school to think like, well, if you really want to play, you should keep playing. Yeah, but that's torture. Unless you really love the game, that shit's fucking awful, right?
It
Yeah.
can be.
So imagine Daisy Dukes there. She's playing, and she's lost 30 matches in a row. However, those 30 matches have fucking added up, and now she's got a new Chun-Li costume, and she's happy about it. And she's gonna keep playing, and she's gonna keep playing, and then it's gonna dawn on her, I've been playing this so much, I might as well learn how to play it. And you just added somebody to the community.
It's hard to refute, but just something doesn't sit right with it in my spirit. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's Fortnite.
Oh.
That's why it doesn't sit.
I mean, yeah.
I don't necessarily dig it either, but the single player look, we're hardcore. I'm gonna main strive simply because I want to. I'm gonna buy the game. I'm not earning anything. I just want to whoop ass.
Mhm.
But it took me 5 years of playing fighting games to get to this point.
Yeah.
To want to do that by myself.
Right.
The only reason why I picked up fighting games is because it hooked me. And I played fighting games before the hook, right? But then playing in an environment that rewarded me even though I lost. That got me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that was only in an offline environment when I played with people. How are we going to do that with just the game?
Yeah, they have to have some sort of incentive, and I mean, like, sure, they can give you like a little bit of in-game current, like they give you a little bit when you lose, and a lot more when you win, to make it really settle in. Like, okay, I'm making progress, I'm doing something, or maybe
That's
even
the
like
worst thing about Street Fighter, right? Is that
Yeah.
you gain experience a little bit, right? But it doesn't. It's so different. Like you gain 50 experience if you lose, and you gain 200 if you win. But you need so much, and it keeps only getting bigger. And then when you level cap, you only get 1,000 fight money, which is dick doo-doo balls.
Yeah. It was
And-
100,000 for a character.
Yeah. And when it comes to just the fight money, if you win, they used to have double XP shit and all this other shit in trials. They don't have that anymore because they gave up on it. But if you win, you get 50 fight money, and if you lose, you get zilch.
Yeah.
yeah, that would feel bad. I don't know.
If it wasn't for you guys, I would have quit most likely.
Don't put that on me. I don't want to keep you in your prison.
Well, it's because I found Logan, right? And
Fair.
I don't know if I told you this, Ducky. I had a training partner before Logan, and he was this Ryu player, and I was silver, didn't know what the fuck I was doing, and he's like, "Oh yeah, bro, I quit Street Fighter. Come play Black Desert with me."
He went to that FGC retirement home. Damn, at least he could have gone to
I know, right?
He could have gone
That's
to at least
not
a
FGC
good
retirement
game.
home. That's I quit fighting games retirement.
But the thing is that I found Logan, who at the time was still into Street Fighter, and got me into Street Fighter, and I made him play longer because he just simply had somebody that wanted to get better, and it was at his I was under his skill level, but not too much to where it was fun to play against each other, right?
Yeah.
The important part was that you learned.
Yeah, and I love
And,
learning.
Like when because you have people that like you could play them 100,000 matches straight, and they wouldn't learn a daggum thing. And like that, it feels bad, but like fighting games aren't for everybody as much as I
No.
want them to be for everybody. But like having a good training partner who can learn while you play, so that you kind of force each other to level up constantly, that is great. I love that feeling.
Bro, those couple of years that we were really like neck and neck with that shit, like it was so the most fun I've had with that game. Easily.
Oh, absolutely. Like
And the
even
thing-
with like when
Right.
even when we first started like certain games together, like
Yeah.
when we both started Power Rangers, like every match ended in timeout because we didn't even understand like basic combo structure. To like it's like, okay, vibe for like an hour, figure some stuff out, and come back. And then we both come back, and we had both leveled up so much in that little time, and it was just like, whoa,
It's insane. It's
amazing.
insane because it doesn't feel like learning. We're just doing it. We're having fun just participating in this thing.
Yeah, and the learning comes naturally.
And the funny thing about it, all this being said, that was the difference to when I went back to that training partner. I was playing Ed still. He played Ryu, and I used to think he was so good. And like I would do a block string and try to do a button, he's Shoryuken. I'm like, what have I learned with Logan for the past couple of months that has taught me this? Okay, hit him once with a jab, Shoryuken, kill him.
Yeah, he dies.
And then when I beat him, he said, "Oh, bro, oh that lag was awful. Whatever." I'm like, felt fine to me." It's like, "Yeah, bro, I'm just done with this game. Whatever." And he rage quit on me forever.
It'd be like
I haven't
that.
spoken to him since.
Oof.
Oh, daggum.
Well,
I've been in that situation.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to reignite that in myself. One day I'll have more than a 17% win rate against Logan, but which
I like
that is facts actually. I have actually looked it up. I have a 17% win rate against you across most games. So we get
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What
17.19. The one that it has the most in is that we have stuck with any sort of long term is Street Fighter. But even in things like the recently picked up Arcana Heart, or even back in our Strive sessions, it was about 17 to 20%.
Damn, I felt like they were closer than that.
They were close in match, but I've always had this issue because I had this issue when I was playing.
Closing out rounds.
Yeah. I have an issue with closing out rounds for the most part.
I have that issue too.
But I think it's just gonna be difficult for people to find that same experience, of improvement and leveling up in a free-to-play environment for a fighting game. I'm not saying that it can't be done. I want it to be done because I believe that fighting games are for everyone. Just not every fighting game is for everyone.
Now that I can agree with.
It's just crazy because there's this weird stigma about them being hard, when quite frankly, they're some of the easiest like games to get. In my personal opinion, there are hard things about them, much like with anything else.
Yeah.
But you play something like I play a little bit of CS:GO very, very casually, and like I don't know why I die. Like what did I do wrong? Oh, there's bullet physics. What do you mean you have to aim at their hip to hit their head?
Yeah, like they're not
that-
inherently
like-
harder than any other game to learn.
Yeah, they're not. And what's so funny is like, what's footsies? I don't understand footsies. Have you ever played a 3D like adventure game, and there's this big boss, and you see he's swinging his arms, and when he misses, you hit him? That's a whiff punish, baby.
Yeah.
In
Like-
layman's terms.
Yeah, I understand that, like, understanding fighting games to the level of, like, being able to kind of, like, do, like, a mental stack on what you know. I can understand why, like, certain things would seem daunting about them. But, like, just, like, a certain fighting games, at least, I'll say, are so, like, easy to get into.
Yeah.
And, like, I think a lot of people kind of overhype the initial difficulty because they got into a fighting game against somebody who plays fighting games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, they think they're hard because they're losing a bunch. And it's like, well, he's got 8 years of Street Fighter experience on you. Of course you're losing. Like, and so, like I said, some people just, they have a harder time adjusting or learning or having the will to learn in
Yeah.
fighting games. And that's okay. Like, obviously, you know, anybody I get into a fighting game, I want them to be like, oh my god, and then the next time I play them, they're just like, you ready for this sick ass shit? And they hit me with the whole one frame link evil Ryu axe kick like nonsense. I'm like,
Oh, bro,
oh, that'd be
to
great.
be hyped for your friend, who to have a rival. That shit is so anime. I fucking love it.
Yeah,
it's great.
It feels good.
But like, I think with a free-to-play format, like, I think it could be done correctly. And if I had to say it was going to be done correctly by someone, I think Riot's a pretty good shot at it because their main game is a free-to-play format.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, fighting games and League of Legends are two wildly different things.
Not for much
But-
longer.
That's a whole week's worth of episodes.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
thinking that.
But I think we'll have to see how Project L plays out before we can really make the call. But right now, even though it can be expensive to be a fighting game player,
It's probably the most expensive game to get into.
It's one of the
They really are.
most expensive hobby. I'm hands down.
oh yeah,
Outside of like,
I would rather pay $60 up front for a game with good netcode, frame data, online training, some form of like really good tutorial, which I have to give to Xrd, because Xrd has a really good tutorial.
Oh my god.
Exit tutorial bangs. Oh my god.
And
Like
like,
Rev 2's tutorial, that shit is fucking brilliant.
it's really, really good. And like, you know, because I think making a mini game out of it was a good approach.
Yeah, for anybody that doesn't know, because we forget we're talking to people. Rev 2's tutorial, like even for me that was just getting back into it, I decided to do the tutorial and just do whatever, you know, and get it over with. They teach you movement by making it a platformer.
Which is a wild concept, but it actually works really well.
It's extremely good.
I will, however, say that like you can kind of get caught up in it, and like it can, and like there is a lot to Xrd, and so like, you know, some of the information you can kind of lose along the way, but at least for me, like I had to do certain parts a couple of times to like really get it to stick.
Yeah.
But and like not everything has to be that level of detailed in their training mode. But like, you know, I don't want more like standard Arc Sys have these characters talk fluff for 20-minute
Yeah.
tutorial.
Just for you to do something for like 10 seconds and then forget
Yeah.
what you did because they're talking so much.
Yeah. And like I appreciate trying to like add the what word am I looking for? I appreciate trying to add the personality, but like you're getting your information mixed in with the fluff, and so it can kind of be lost that way. Uniclear did that to me. Was it Uniclear? I think it was Uniclear.
Probably because Uniclear's tutorial is praised so highly across the board, and I understand why, because it does teach you about the game and then it has you do the things, but at the same time you are just kind of scrolling through menus, and you'll scroll through a menu to get to the thing that you need to learn. You'll click it, it'll give you a prompt box to let you know what is happening and what to do, and then it'll throw you in and you just do it. But that's not practical for everybody, and it's not entertaining either.
Or no, it was. I'm pretty sure it was BlazBlue's tutorial. There's like two characters on screen like that have banter, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, here's this mechanic," and then you do it, and then they kind of banter on it to each other, which has nothing to do with the gameplay that I just learned. And it's like, I would like to have the character banters be in the story mode. Let me learn the game.
I think yeah. I know what you're
But the
talking
flip side of that though is like something like Street Fighter V's tutorial. Remember that? The one thing you play when you launch the game and you can't go back to it. It's like, here's Ryu and Ken. Do a Hadouken. Cool. Do a Shoryuken. Cool. That's effectively useless because you don't know why you're doing it.
Yeah. Like,
What if Ken was talking to Ryu and said like, okay, all right, keep me away from you using your Hadouken. Oh, that's what you use it for? Okay, Hadouken, are you away from me? Okay, now I'm gonna jump over that. It's like he's thinking. If he puts some personality into it, he's like, "Oh, I can't get over you. Okay, now I'm gonna try something different." So when you do it again, you throw it, he jumps over it, and then it's like then Ryu thinks, "Oh, what do I have in my arsenal?" And then you see him do the Shoryuken. You're like, "Oh, okay, that's it." And so you throw a fireball, and then you do a Shoryuken and punch him in the tutorial. There you fucking go. You got a game plan, my man.
At the very least, yeah, like that would be a lot better than what they just kind of threw at you. Yeah, I would like to see, like, I know it's hard to do tutorials properly, but if nothing else, rather than, in my personal opinion, and this might just be me, I would rather have a small text box on, like, certain moves that say, hey, this move has this about it that is probably useful. Like I like have the like a system mechanics tutorial. Like, hey, you can FADC, you can, red focus, you can.
If you notice your opponent is jumping a lot, you can use this move to prevent them from doing so. Like,
yeah, but then like in each character's move list, like this move, like trying to think of a good one, Akuma's back fierce. It says upper body and vuln. Special cancelable. Okay, so it's an anti-air because it's upper body and vuln. So like or like causes juggle state. Okay, so I can combo off of it. Kind of give you something with the move in the move list rather than just here's this move.
Give it some context. And I think Rev 2 has a mission mode, right? That
Rev
kind
2
of
does have a mission mode, and it does start you out with the moves, and it'll let you know like what the moves are used for, kind of. Or sometimes it'll explain things like Dizzy's bubble, or it'll explain things like special mechanics that a character has, but it doesn't usually go into super detail about it. Now, a game that does kind of do that, at least at a simpler point, is Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. On every move in your move list, it'll have an icon at the end of it that will let you know what properties that it has, whether it's air unblockable, whether it's invincible, etc., etc.
Yeah, and I would like that more.
Yeah.
Also for special moves, I gotta give it to Grand Blue on this. They actually show you a small video of what the move looks like.
Yes.
So like, even though like I don't need that video. Because, like, I can look at the input and do it. I've been playing fighting games for years. When, Bobby Sue gets in the fighting games, how does he know he did that move right?
Yeah.
He doesn't know what that looks like. Like, if he messes it up, like, 8 times, and he just sees Akuma do, back fierce, oh, okay, so Shoryuken is this, like, backhand motion thing. Like, you get to see what it's supposed to do.
Yeah,
it's weird because on the flip side of that, you have like something like I mean, most games have this, but Street Fighter V's like trial mode, where combo, do these combos and whatever, which is one of my more favorite things to do in fighting games. Honestly, is like a new character comes out, let's do their combos, their trials.
I agree.
If you don't know how to do it, you just click a button, and boom, it'll show you the combo, and shows what situation it has to be, and it's like, oh, I wasn't close enough. Oh, it's for this. Sometimes it can be a little vague, but it does help me a lot sometimes when I don't understand why I'm not doing a combo correctly. However, there's still things missing to where like I don't know why I'm doing that combo.
Yeah,
which a lot of the combos are unoptimal. They're just fun to do.
Right, and like to the point, I get the idea behind it is just kind of to give you the ideas of what the character can do. Like, is it optimal to do? Like EX Fireball into EX Tatsu as Kin? No. But, like, it makes you aware of an option that you can juggle after EX Fireball. So, like, Shoryuken's more. And should they have just given you Shoryuken's combo? Yeah, probably. But, the combo modes are, in a lot of games at least, more about being, like, difficult to execute combos than they are about being optimal.
Yeah.
But I do think that that's kind of a cool thing because like I like my execution stuff. So like putting myself in a situation where like, I would never do this combo, but it looks cool, you know, just for the sake of like the difficulty on it at least, I would enjoy. But for people trying to learn the characters, yeah, I think there should be a nice balance at least. Like, okay, here's like a concept. You know, Akuma does EX flip into dive kick. And then like, you know, but like in a combo, he does EX flip into EX fireball into EX shuriken or something.
Mhm.
But also in those combo modes, like a lot of them just show you like, well, some of them like you have like the demonstration, but like sometimes it's weird to find the timing, and that's why I think some games should do what I think it's Tekken 7 does.
Yeah.
Where like there's like a sound that plays when they do the next move.
It'll actually show you the key motions, like in the sample combos. You go, you match the thing, and it goes doot 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 doot
Yeah,
doot
yeah,
doot
you
doot.
do the little wood tap. And I actually really like that. And I want to see that more.
That's good. But on the other hand, you know, thinking like if we were to start a fighting game, I've been practicing Lay's combos and whoo, like it's not that his combos are hard, but there's literally 170 moves.
Yeah.
And some of those are more or less useless, you know. And the thing is though, like I have to play, and because I'm a fighting game player, I can like, okay, I recognize this, I recognize that. I'm doing a combo. I'm like, okay, Lay's back turn. What do you do from that in this combo? From the sample combos, right? I see that when Lay can like extend his combo, which will put him in back turn, and then for back turn, you can extend it by doing this specific input in that stance, and then get something off of it. And now I'm starting to understand, like, I can understand like how it's starting to like work and like why you would do it.
Yeah.
However, I only understand that because, again, I've been playing fighting games for 5 years. I know what to look for. And even then, it took a bit.
I think that's about all the time that we have for today. This is an extra special, little longer episode than normal, but I actually thoroughly enjoyed the conversation with you guys, as always.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So let us know down in the comments what your fighting game wish list is. What are some features that you wish to see in the games that you want to see? You know, more online training, better netcode, obviously. You know, or even something like Tekken 7's punishment training system. You know, let us know down in the comments below. Get the discussion going. We'll be looking at the comments as we always do. Please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for every time that we upload. We're gonna keep this train going, so hopefully you guys will be along for the ride. Please be sure to follow me, Ducky Please, on all my social medias. You can find me at Ducky Please. That's DuckiePLZ. You can also follow Justin on his Twitter at BitchKamikaze, where he is still open for commissions for music. And of course, we are still on a TBD or to be announced for Logan's socials.
Or not.
Ooh.
But they will be coming soon, TM. So
how about they're out?
Oh,
yeah, I do have a Twitter at AmrasAmandel.
All right,
and I do have a YouTube channel at which is Heavy Metal Link 05. I post a lot of my game clips and stuff on there. I will start streaming on there shortly, but I am getting more set up on the social media side of things for my streaming.
Well,
let me tell you, fellas, if you're sitting on the toilet at 6 a.m. taking your morning dookie, and you need something to watch while time passes amongst other things, man, watch this guy play Nightmare and command grab some bitch 6 times in a row. It's fantastic and helps the flow.
I'm glad you appreciate it.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, follow Logan on Twitter at AmrasAmandel, and make sure you follow his YouTube at Heavy Metal Link. The links will be in the description below. Any final thoughts from you guys?
I think that's a good place to call today.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Greatly appreciate you being here. Please be excellent to each other and have an awesome day.